because Peter, I know, has a lot on his plate today, as I'm sure a lot of you do.
Probably not.
So, Peter, when did you join Keller Williams?
Over water.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the exact date. I started talking with Mandy in July, and so my first date was either August 1st or August 5th.
Okay.
I pick August 1st just because it's easier to remember.
Yeah.
But I think that Monday was August 5th, so that was probably the first day.
Okay. And can you tell us what your first 90 days look like?
Oh boy.
Do you remember?
Well, I talked with a number of other brokerages. I'd always had Keller Williams in the back of my mind, but decided that I was a little late to the party, so I really needed training. So I was dual career, and with Mandy's knowledge and permission, she said, "Yeah, keep that other one." And the other company said, "Yeah, keep working. We want you around as you build your real estate practice. Just let us know." But I think after about the first week, I realized that I needed to do this full time if I was going to be able to take advantage of the training that was there, and really jump into it. That I needed to be here full time. I couldn't just do this part time. So very soon in August, I left that other job and started just jumping into night, to productivity, to every opportunity that I could think of finding for Keller Williams training. And everything that I thought was going to happen from joining Keller Williams has happened, but there have been bonuses that I never ever imagined that have happened as well. So I committed. I looked around and saw what people that were big producers were doing, and I decided I had to do that. So.
And what was that? What were they doing that you emulated into your daily activities right away? What did you notice?
Well, they were there. People were at the office. So I really feed off of that interaction and that energy that I get, and that the help. I mean, Keller Williams is unique. I've never been in a business situation where other people who are so willing to help someone who's just coming in. And I think that's because of just our culture, but also the way that we profit share. So my success is everyone else's success, and everybody was there to reach a hand up. So it's not just one thing. I looked around and I followed the example and the suggestions that you gave and that leadership gave, that Charlie and Mandy gave. I reached out to you, Janine, for coffee. I reached out to Jay. He gave advice. I reached out to Maureen. She gave advice on one of the things to do. So be there at the office, show up for the trainings. I committed to going to Bold. When I saw all of the big top producers that were going to be joining Bold, I went into Charlie. I said, "Listen, I need to do this." I said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "No, I see the names on that board. I got to be in that party. I need to be there." And so I got a scholarship for Bold. Do
you think that was a turning point for you, really? A major, like a pivot?
But Bold was a pivot. I think just being at Keller Williams and seeing what was going on was the big pivot, because I've heard before that people fail into this industry. I had tried a number of other things to make money for my family, to make a living, and to be able to give back to my community. I saw the roadmap that was here at Keller Williams. I mean, I look at it. I don't look at a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA and say, "Well, I could probably do that." But I looked at other realtors and saw what they were doing, and saw that they were going to give me a roadmap for the things that they had done, that if all I had to do was do that, and I couldn't help but be successful. I don't think I'm successful. I think I'm gaining some traction, and really need to double down on some of the other things that I'm missing. I mean, I'm trying to do everything, but I can't do everything. So I hired a bookkeeper. I hired transaction management, and I really have to get back to concentrating on lead generation and working on my business instead of in my business.
Love that. So is Renee your transaction manager?
No, Julie Koskinen.
Okay, got it. So so you're about to close your 5th transaction, which means you are, graduating from the productivity program. How long did it take you to get your first closed deal?
My first closed deal was October 21st.
Okay. And where did that come from? Where did your transactions all come from?
They all came from Sphere.
Okay.
In late August, I was standing in my brother-in-law's backyard. He said, "So you got any deals yet?" I said, "No, not yet, but it's early." He goes, "Well, you got one now." And I was getting some congratulations from my colleagues. I said, "Well, it's family. I mean, it's just, And they said, no, that's how it happens. You wouldn't have gotten this deal if you were a dick brother-in-law." So, I mean,
well, and sometimes you guys, honestly, family is the hardest to get because it's not that they don't trust you, but it's almost the hardest fine line of wanting to have you a part of their business transaction. So it can be a little more difficult, honestly, for families. So,
and I find also that maybe they don't want you in their business.
Yeah.
Family and business a little more separate. And they think that we're in their finances when we sell houses, friends and family and what have you. And, setting the boundaries right away and telling them I am into the real estate side and the lender knows all of your numbers. And I don't get a W-2. I don't know any of your business. I'm just here to be your transaction coordinator and your cheerleader to find you a house and to move forward on this.
So the other side of that coin is I had another brother-in-law who I've spoken with, his brother actually, who I'd spoken with about real estate. I knew he was going to be looking for a house, and I showed him a couple. I sent him some things, and at Thanksgiving, he walks in with a phone. "Hey, look at the house I just put an offer on." And I was so pissed.
I remember that.
We had lent him money in the past. I had hired him to do some work for us. So I had to get rid of that anger and go to what Janine said. And then what Janine said is, next, there's something else. Next, don't dwell on it. So I really got him back.
Yeah, you did.
I hired him again to paint for and I gave him referral for a client of mine to paint his house. So I couldn't hold that anger. I had to get past it. But everything else has really come from, I got one listing from doing a Bold 100, but that was kind of Sphere because the guy knew a friend of mine. I got another listing from following up on a lead from an open house that I held for the J. Schmidt Group on Squire Road in Mequon. But everything else really has come from Sphere. I had 3 conversations with people this week. That's not going to happen. I said, "Listen, I can't do anything right now, but I need your help on this, and I trust you." One guy wants me to list an inexpensive condo. One wants me to help find a rental for him. One guy wants me to perhaps list because unfortunately is going through a divorce. So it's just being there and doing what they taught us in Bold, what they teach us in Ignite, what they teach us just in the whole atmosphere of Keller Williams. Be there for people, come from service, and be out there. Let people know what's going on. Don't be a secret agent. Let them know what you're doing.
My motto is service first and sales second. I want to be known as a service provider, not necessarily a salesperson until I'm negotiating on your behalf. But we come from service first. And I think that is definitely you, Peter. So what does your typical day look like in the world of real estate? Starting out with your mornings, what does that look like?
Well, I start out every morning in prayer and meditation. And then I jump into emails and social media posting. And then I look at my time block, and I plan on doing at least 3 hours of lead generation. And frankly, I've sucked at it because there's been so much going on. I mean, I have not been able to do that. I'm doing Bold Pivot as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that my lead generation needs to be refocused.
Okay.
And one of the things I'm thankful for in Bold Pivot is I think the coaches and the MAPS coach management looked at what was going on, looked at the feedback, and kind of adjusted their message. It's just, I do something in real estate every single day, and I just try to be better than yesterday. So I look forward to today, and I look forward to tomorrow, and just do something every day. I'm not meeting the numbers that I should be. I'm not meeting the numbers that are expected, but I'm trying.
What, if there was one piece of advice that you could give a brand new agent that just got their license, if you could just give them one thing, what would that be?
Well, it was really something that was stressed to me from the beginning. Show up. And I know it's difficult now, but when we open back up, be in the office. I got office space before I could afford it. I need to hear, I need the vibe, I need the energy that's in the in the office setting where colleagues, if I have a question, I can just go and say, hey, what about this? And somebody gives me an answer like this or points me in the right direction. And it goes back to things that I'd heard before, but really, I mean, I'm buying into it. 99% of life is just showing up. I drink the Kool-Aid. I know I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But if it's going to make me wealthy and help me support my family, I'm going to drink big gulps.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. We have a culture here that is unlike anything I've ever experienced. So I'm trying to just do what I'm told. Just do what the winners have been doing, and they share it.
By the way, we did not pay Peter to come in and say these things. But it just kind of shows me, and I hope that you guys can see this, attitude is everything. It's everything, 100% everything. If you go in with a great attitude, you're going to do well. You're going to do well. You just have to persevere. What did you just hold up, Peter?
This is the Millionaire Real Estate. The power of a millionaire real estate agent, the power of full engagement, shift, the one thing, the morning miracle. I mean, and it's all, you know, I spent, my wife and I had businesses before and they failed because I wasn't running them right way. And you know, we had a pretty big shift in 2008. And I spent 10 years trying to figure out something and just thought, oh shit, I'm going to be poor for the rest of my life. But I came here and found people that were willing to share. And we have example after example after example of people that are just killing it who were flat ass broke 5 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, multi-million dollar, $100 million teams that weren't doing anything 5 years ago. So the thing for me was when I got here, not only did the Keller Williams ethos and the culture align with the way that I'm trying to live my life, they gave me a roadmap for the future of building a life that I could be proud of. And I had hope that I could do this too, which was just huge. Just huge.
So how did you start out? Let's say, you know, you had other professions. How did you contact your database? And what did you say to them when you shifted careers? What did that sound like?
You know, frankly, I know because I had tried a number of different things. I had like 10 jobs since 2008. And I know that some of my sphere was going, well, let's see how long this one lasts. So I had to build a track record and I had to show examples. So it was a combination of doing a sphere of letting people know what I was going to be doing, and people were very supportive. And I'm surprised by how many people said, you know, we told you to do this like 10 years ago. How come you waited so long?
Wow. Wow.
So there have been a number of people that were in my corner. And then other people that I had to prove things to, and then other people that I never knew that I just met and tried to help them along the way. Come from service.
So did you email all of these people, or did you pick up the phone and call these people that I am now with Keller Williams? What did that sound like and look like?
I called and texted and emailed. I did not do like a mailer of a biography of, hey, I wanted to tell you this. I handled it very conversationally and with social media and started using posts from other agents for their homes. and started posting things about open houses that I was going to be at or listings that I could show people. Other agents have been very helpful in allowing me to share their, what they had. So I used, when I didn't have anything to show, I used the Keller Williams track record, showing going from nowhere in Wisconsin 5 years ago to now the #2 brokerage in southeastern Wisconsin. So people like to be with winners. So I was able to use the Keller Williams experience and strength and show that to my sphere.
Perfect. All right. So when you wrote your first offer, Peter, were you prepared for that experience, and who did you reach out to help you with that? What did that look like for you?
It wasn't just the first one. I spent so much time in April and early May leaning on the launch team. Andy Williams was my mentor when we had the Andy Stillman was my mentor when we had the old mentor program, and he sat right next to me. I brought it into the office. He said, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this is what you do with this. And he met with me from the first listing contract through accepted offers, through amendments, all of those, every step of the way. I could lean on someone else and show, okay, this is what I learned in the class. Is this how it works? Because I got my license and I kind of forget about some of that stuff.
Sure.
But then I could lean on mentors and other agents as well. Hey, how do you do this? Well, this is what you do. This is where you look.
So your first transaction that closed, was that a buyer or a listing?
That was a listing.
Okay. All right. And how did that work out as far as home inspection amendment? Was it smooth? Was it rocky? What did you take away from that?
Well, it was really interesting because the co-broke was someone that we had bought a house and sold a house with. So I knew her, and it was very, very helpful. There was the home inspection. There were some things that came back, and we just addressed them as we went along. I was maybe a little bit too hands-on. I helped the homeowner go and buy materials for things that had to be repaired, but I wanted to make sure that this went through. I want to make sure that if this didn't close, it wasn't because of something that I didn't do.
Sure. Okay.
We handled open communication with the co-broke, and just making sure that I was representing my seller's interest to the best of my ability and just getting it done.
And so out of your 5 that you have, are they all listings or are there some buyers in there? What's the ratio?
It's 3 listings and 2 buyers.
Okay. So that's for those of you that are new, that's highly unusual. It's usually mainly 5 buyers or maybe 4 buyers in 1 listing. So that's really good. That's very good.
For some reason, I'm not having a whole lot of luck connecting with buyers. I'm having a little more luck connecting with listers.
Hey, that's awesome. You're going to make more money off of your listings, and then you're going to get, more business off of a listing for sure. Mm-hmm. What is your goal, your production goal and unit goal for 2020? Do you have one?
Yes.
Okay. Are you open to sharing that?
30 closed units, $10 million in revenue.
Okay.
And it's a stretch.
And so where are you now? 5?
Yes. I've got 2 other listings. I have one excluded. I've had a listing appointment last week. And another guy that's waiting for COVID to go.
Awesome.
I probably won't hit 30, but I'll hit a lot more than I ever thought I would.
Okay. Perfect. And do you have a income goal that you're trying to meet with that?
I wanted to cap by April 21st, and that would have been about 100,000. That would be, that's a good number.
That's a great number.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great number. All right. I'm going to have it open to those of you. There's some comments in the chat. Let me see if we've missed. Oh, okay. No. Connie, what do you have to ask that we haven't hit?
So you held up a series of books, Peter. When did you start reading those books?
MREA right away.
Okay, so once you started, you were introduced to the MREA.
Yep.
And how many items in that book do you base your business on? I'm throwing a curveball at you here.
Yeah. It was said at family reunion, you read the MREA once you're in kindergarten.
Yep.
You read it again, maybe you're getting into grade school. So I'm rereading things and reincorporating things, because not everything in there is just stuff that I would normally do. So I've got to move from entrepreneurial to purposeful. So I'm using that to build off of. I know that's kind of a curveball answer.
No, that's exactly what I was looking for, actually. So when you first read the MREA, when you first started real estate, what are the few key points that you pulled out of there that you incorporated right away?
The importance of lead generation.
Yeah.
The importance of having a system and a model. Think like a millionaire. I've got that taped on my bathroom mirror.
Okay.
So that's the first thing among the first things I see every morning is that, and just try to, think powered by a big why. Find what my big why is. My big why is providing for my family.
And with our whole conversation, of course, we love doing real estate, but we're definitely in it to have a career and to make money. Do you find the financial section on building your business and setting your business up to be helpful?
Well, yeah, that's part of the model. And part of, how you should structure things and hire things. Frankly, I think I'm not quite there yet in terms of what I should be doing. I've got to get my production up. But I did hire a bookkeeper. I have hired transaction management to try to get out of my own way and not do things I'm not very good at, and not do things that won't build my business, that won't lead to more deals and more relationships.
Yeah, learn the business and then quickly find out what you need to delegate, right, Peter? Don't you think that's?
Yes.
Because there's so many things that we can become so overwhelmed with, and then we just get stuck in the training mode, and we then don't allow ourselves to go out there and sell what we do best. So quickly learn how to delegate and who to delegate it to. So you held that book up. Power of Full Engagement. Talk about that one. One of my favorites.
Well, it's just it's an amazing book. I mean, it's about managing energy and not time. Just to be present and to really do the things that are most important. There's one of the things that I really liked about Ignite and about Bold was it showed the different areas of your life that you have to concentrate on. And there's been something going around that I've seen. I thought all I needed was hard work to succeed. Well, you need hard work, but you need to take care of your body. You need to take care of your spirit. You need to take care of your family. And this book kind of went into Power of Full Engagement, how to do that. And it starts, and everything that I've read starts, and from the Keller Williams culture to these other books. Take care of your body and your spirit first, because you can't really do anything if you're spiritually empty or if you're unhealthy.
Power of Full Engagement and the Miracle Morning kind of are similar.
Yeah.
It starts out with Power of Full Engagement of different scenarios of people that are kind of stuck and moving at such a fast pace that they're just going through the motions. And it's really, the Power of Full Engagement is case studies of certain people, and you will see yourself in more than one of those studies.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And when that book was introduced to me, I remember flying back from some kind of conference, and I'm reading it, and I just got really teary-eyed. Like, I can relate to this. This has got to stop. And then I have since sent it on to so many people. You will see yourself in many of those stories, and it's how to get yourself back and be purposeful and be truly engaged with whoever you're with, clients, coworkers, family, to slow down. Anyway, in this business, I found that to be one of my favorite books. Amazon.
It's really good. One of the things that I was taught, and it's not really in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, but from other agents and from people that were in leadership and people that were high producers, is do open houses, go to open houses. So I'm looking forward to be able to do that again. But if you're doing an open house, there's going to be some lag time. So always have a book to read.
Peter,
Yes.
There's a really, really great question in the chat. And I actually get this a lot, especially now with everything that's going on. Beth says, I'm really struggling jumping in full time because I still need a job to make a paycheck while I build this career. But having that job also limits my time to nurture this. You mentioned going through that yourself. Any advice for her or the other people who are kind of wondering this?
It's just, for me, I decided that I needed to learn this business, that I was late to this party. And I could not afford to learn from my own mistakes. I had to follow what other people were doing. And so I had to be present. There's story after story kind of internally in our market center about people that were at the market center every day, early till late, doing the phone calls, getting the training, learning from their colleagues. So for me, I decided that my best path forward was just to jump in with both feet. My best way to replace the income that I was going away from toward the income that I wanted was to do real estate full time. And so I jumped in with both feet. I resigned and I started working 7 days a week, being in the office, listening to people, taking Ignite, making my phone calls, and then doing between 3 and 5 open houses a week.
Key. Open houses, I think, are key. And you were shadowing everyone and picking up. I remember one of the houses that you were you knew just about everyone that walked in that door, Peter. Oh, I know you. Oh, I know you. I'm like, oh my God, he's got this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and I think when you're transitioning into a new career, if you need that paycheck, which I totally understand,
Yeah.
keep in mind that when you put in your 40 hours a week at your day job, you need to put in additional 40 to 50 hours in real estate. So it makes for a really long week. But if that's what you need to do, you just really have to really jump in there and keep that. And I've seen a bunch of comments with time blocking. You know, if you're done with your other job at 4 o'clock or at 5 o'clock, give yourself an hour break and then, you know, put in your 5 hours or 4 hours every night, but it has to be time blocked off. And unfortunately, your personal life will not be as strong because you have to put the time in to learn everything and to just jump in and work on your leads.
Yeah, I was working 2 jobs when I started, and I think for 6 months. Don't do what I did. I probably cried every day.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was hard. I did too. It was really hard.
I was thoroughly mentally and physically exhausted. And I think most of us are pleasers and we don't say no very well. People that are in real estate are people pleasing. And that's why that power and full engagement really did help me, because it kind of set me up to taking care of myself first. Now, this was after the fact. So I went through hell and then back. It is definitely doable. And I quickly observed that, oh my gosh, once I really get this, the opportunities are endless and there is not a ceiling, and I can make a lot of money really having a great time, but it's not going to be fun at first. You're going to see the fun, you're going to see glimpses of it, but then there's all that training and everything you have to do. Hold on tight, because you're going to get through that training and you're going to feel more confident, and then you'll really start to have fun. You're going to have a blast. It's going to take a while.
Janine, when you And Janine's been in for a couple of years. Are you on 5 years or 6 years now, Janine?
This is my, 6.
Okay. And Peter, shorter than a year. With your earning potential, your first year, because you jumped in and all three of us basically kept our full-time job for a little bit in transition. What was your, no, you don't have to throw numbers out, but what was your income your first year versus what you were making before? Were they comparable?
My first year, I think I made $45,000 in real estate. My goal, my why, was to put my son through college 100% all in. That was all that was my thing. So I accomplished that my first year.
Awesome.
Yep.
And Peter, how are you doing as compared to your previous? I know the first 6 months are always shady, but are you kicking in? And
How far back do you want to go?
well,
So here's what it was for me. My wife and I ran very successful businesses. And they both crashed. And I tried to find something to replace that by going to work for other people. And I just cannot work for other people. I just can't. I didn't have an idea of how to start a new business until I looked at this and looked at real estate and saw what it was and looked around at what some of the other people were doing, both in Keller Williams and outside of Keller Williams. And I thought, I can do that. I don't know of another industry where there is more potential for a higher income with a lower bar of entry.
yeah.
And that's proven true. I don't think my goals for this year for 30 units and $10 million, I don't think that was out of line. I think they've been delayed. They haven't been canceled. So whether I get all the way there or not this year, I will get there.
Have you started thinking about 2021 and what those goals are going to look like for you?
I have not. I have been, I do have, I have a 5-year goal. And that's to have a team and over 50 million in sales.
Let's talk about that, because I think you do have a new member. You have added someone to your team.
Yes, she's, I see her smiling face. Her video is not on, but I see her smiling face. My daughter, Katie Miller, got her license earlier this year, and we are marketing together as the Gohsman Group.
Congrats.
Congrats.
And I don't think she has any idea how good she's going to be in this business.
And what
she's
is
in
the
Lake
role?
Country.
Okay.
So she has the network of the school people there, the strength of Keller Williams Lake Country. Her husband, they've got a network there with those folks. She's going to be really, really good at this business. And she's already starting to do things that she never thought were possible.
That's awesome. Can you give us 2 effective ways that you have generated business in your career in real estate? What are the 2 most effective ways to generate business?
Phone calling and phone calling.
That's your one thing.
I mean, it's
Picking up the phone or texting?
both. I get much more from phone calls. The deal that I closed, or the deal that was closed on Tuesday, came from a care call to Sphere. The guy said, "Hey, I've got a flip I've been trying to sell. I'm just not sure how to do it." I said, "Well, let's talk about it." That was April 14th. We signed the paperwork April 18th. We went live on April 24th and had an accepted offer for his target price by 7 p.m. on April 24th.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Amazing.
So it's
That's
just
awesome.
calling. I had a listing appointment because I went to help the guy that was sticking the signs in the yard. And I met him at the house. It's on a golf course. We had a sign in the front on the street, and I wanted one on the back lot by the tee box on the golf course. So I met there to show him where to put it, and we were chatting, and he said, "You know what? My girlfriend and I are breaking up. We need to sell our house." Bingo. So it's just being there and being out and being bold.
Yeah. what are two ways that you are two things that you would like to incorporate to generate business that you haven't done yet that you're thinking about?
Just commit to time block. Gary says the business you're in is lead generation, and I really need to time block my lead generation and do it every day. And I miss out on doing that. And I know it's going to affect my business in June and July, but it was stuff that I had to do that I've now turned over. So I'm going to be better tomorrow than I was today, and I'm going to really commit to time blocking my lead generation.
So I hear this time blocking really resonating from this conversation, and I'm seeing it in the chat as well. Time blocking is everything. I am getting up earlier than I ever, and productive. I get up now at 5:30, 6 o'clock. I start my day, and I'm ready and dressed to go by 7. Whether that's out to the office or in my kitchen. That really helps because by noon I have accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just tit for tat. The early, because we can do most of our business in the morning. In fact, there's many coaches out there that they don't really want to see your afternoon schedule. All they're looking for is from 7 a.m. until noon. Show me that. Because what shows up on that schedule is really basing what your success level is going to be. So true.
And even in these times of working remotely, getting up and dressing professionally. Has a lot to do with mental attitude. Getting up, being dressed for business, so that, that's just important to my mindset.
Yes. How about urgency? So what is your urgency level, or what have you noticed on co-brokes during your 5 transactions as far as timeliness and being there or responding at a fast level? Has it been good for you on the other end? What have you seen from other agents?
I had one agent that I wanted to go find and choke.
Okay.
My mentor said, you can't expect our standard from other people. I think Keller Williams has a higher standard and a commitment to working well with co-brokes. Now, my first deal was with Cindy Fleming. She was great.
Oh, yeah.
She was really good. I had another one with Alexis Roselle. That was excellent. I had one with, of the 5, my 6th one is closing this morning. So it's probably 80% are really good. 20% were not so good, really didn't know what they were doing. Where you really thought they should have. I had one guy that wouldn't even answer a phone call.
Okay, so how did you handle that?
I kept on him and kept on him and kept on him, and tried to kill him with kindness every time we spoke. This was a really, really difficult deal. And he wasn't very cooperative. So I reached out to the lenders. I reached out to everyone that I could think of just to keep things moving along.
Mm-hmm. And when you were brand new, did you tell people that you were new, or how did you handle that?
When people said, how long you been in this? The stock answer is, seems like forever. So I've used that sometimes. My sphere knew when I started, and that's when most of my business was. I had a guy that didn't know, and when I had started, and he said, "How long you been doing this?" And it just said, "You know what? Be honest." I told him I've been here since August 1st, but I have a unique collaborative organization. I have a full team of photographers, of contract people, of colleagues, and we all work together. Keller Williams is unique in that, we're not Lone Rangers. We're not what you may have heard like from other realtors, people that had lied to their own mom and are just in it for themselves. We have a very different way of doing business, and that's what attracted me to this. This is why I think you should work for me or work with me. So that's worked a couple times.
Yeah. A question out there is, who are you calling in the first 30, 60, 90 days when you didn't have clients, referrals, and sphere from real estate yet? Yeah. So first first 90 days, you know, you're, first of all, you're putting everything in a database. I literally just called and emailed everyone and said, I have jumped into a new career. I have a servant's heart. That's what makes me happy. And I am now selling real estate. I am very excited and I would love to talk to you more about it. So I called everyone in my database. I was an esthetician prior, so I had a lot of clients from people that used to wax their eyebrows. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if they're going to trust me with this huge, home and the whole process. And they were hiring me because they trusted me and they knew me. Even though they knew.
You know how important eyebrows are?
They are extremely right now. So don't be shy. Just say, I am so excited. I just started this new career and I have a ton of mentors and a team behind me. And I would love to help you.
And most of my spheres said, you are going to be so good at this. And even though, I mean, your sphere is a lot bigger than what you think it is. It's not just people in your phone book. We're in Milwaukee. We are 1 degree separated from everybody else in the city. So that small Milwaukee really, really helps. And the reason that I chose to tell some people that I'd only been doing this since August 1st was because that trust is really important. And the last 4 people that I've spoken to said, I want you to handle this for me because I trust you. This is the biggest thing that most people ever do in their lives.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get sold. Katie and I were just talking in Bold Pivot, and there's some excellent scripting, but you've got to make that part of yourself. You've got to know that so well that it comes from a point of conversation of trying to help people. Because if you don't do it right, it's going to seem manipulative and it's going to turn people off like that. And we just can't afford that. We get about 10 seconds with people before they decide if they're going to work with us or not. So we have to come from service and we have to be authentic. We have to be trustworthy.
Yeah, and it's true. People can see and smell desperation. So, and it's really hard if you certainly are, desperate. I don't like to use the word desperate, but eager. So just be authentic and come from service and it will show. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know you have a closing, so you can't stay much longer. Your 6th closing, correct?
Yes.
Yay. What do you do for closing gifts?
It depends. I try to find out what the client wants. My first listing I mentioned was my brother-in-law, and I know that he smokes cigars, so I got him a couple of cigars. My second closing was with an Italian guy that loves to cook. So I went to the oilery. I got him some olive oil and vinaigrette and balsamic. The closing that was just yesterday, I found out from Mr. Seller that his wife really likes teas. So I try to personalize it for as much as I can possibly know about the client.
Love it. And how do you stay in touch with your past clients? And do you ask for referrals?
I do ask for referrals. I haven't gotten any referrals yet, but that was just in Bold Pivot about sending out the forms. They said they would, but they get busy. So we've got to give them something. We've got to make it easy for them.
Yep, exactly. Anyone have any questions for Peter before he jumps off to his 6th closing?
Yay.
I am not successful yet. I'm gaining traction. I don't want to blow myself up. I'm getting traction just doing what people told me to do and following the training and the models.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're a great role model.
I'm getting over the point now of being emotional when I talk about what this career opportunity means to me.
You can be emotional.
Well, I'm kind of controlling it. This has been, it's really been the best thing in my career. The money is not there yet, but I see the path forward. Other than marrying well, I'm really fortunate to have this.
You did marry very well. And
I way outkicked my coverage.
And she married very well too. Let's be honest.
Awesome.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
My number is 414-702-4664. 414-702-4664. My email is Peter Goz, G-O-Z, @KW.
And you just put it on the chat, so it's on there.
And when I was a little embarrassed when Janine asked me to come this morning, but I've been given so much by my Keller Williams colleagues. And if there's anything that I can do to give back, just let me know. I'll do everything I can for you.
That's great.
We love you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Peter.
Congrats
Thanks.
on your closing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's open up conversation. What was the takeaway from that conversation? Does anyone want to pipe in, unmute themselves?
I'm going to work on time blocking, just forcing time in.
Yeah. That's almost 100% of this job is time blocking.
I find when I lose track of, and Janine and I were talking about this yesterday, I find that when I lose track of time and I don't have my checklist and there's a lot of don'ts here, don't have my time blocking, I don't have any business. I lose track of things. So yesterday I got my checklist out. I got through everything on my checklist. Then I had time to go shoot 9 holes of golf. So you can definitely work in what you want to do if you have things time blocked and if you have a checklist.
You know what I also suggest is, and it may just happen organically with you, but you will meet someone that you really connect with and you can kind of keep each other on track. I mean, Connie and I have called each other many times and like, I'm in a slump or my attitude sucks. How do I get out of this? Or what's going on with you? Almost an accountability person. Kind of get into each other's business a little bit. And it's very, very helpful. She will share things with me. This is what I sent out. This is a mailer I did. And it's really helpful to have someone that, if you're on a team that's not on your team, and that you respect and you can see yourselves in them. And that's kind of where Connie and I are that to each other.
We're kind of two peas in a pod. It's kind of scary. But I like it that we're disconnected, but we can connect.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all talk about these high times and everything is great. And just being honest, I've been in for 3 years. My first year, I made the exact same amount that I made doing hair. And I did hair for 30 years. Second year, I doubled. Third year, I tripled what I made. So the money is there, but I called Janine a couple of times in total sobbing tears. Somebody drove me crazy. I was losing a deal. They personally attacked me. Man, I needed therapy bad. So there are good times and there are bad times, but to have somebody to bounce things off of really, really, really helps. And actually, I was going to tell you that one I talked to, it was a connection of my neighbor's brother.
Yeah.
And he was the biggest ass I've ever met in my whole entire life. Of course, he was really nice when we started. And it just came back, and this was a transaction last fall. I was talking to the neighbor, and she said, "I can't believe what an ass my brother is." I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Could have been thousands of dollars in therapy, but you know, it does come around, and you kind of have to be a duck and let things roll off your back sometimes. And for those of us who put our whole heart and soul into things, it's hard. It's very hard, but to bounce things off of people, and everything doesn't run smoothly, but actually I have a closing next week and I haven't talked to anybody for like 2 weeks because it's so smooth. I think it's still going on. Yeah. I mean, I touch base every week, but there's been knocking on wood here. There's been nothing that has thrown an iron in the fire for this whole entire deal. And then I have 2 other ones that, oh, for the love, I'm gonna
Yeah.
become an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
every case is different. I always put them in case. Every case is different.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really, like Janine said, I really appreciate her that I can call and say, hey, what about this? And I have this person, what are you guys doing with that? I'm slow, I'm busy, and we just touch base and really connect with things
Mhm.
because it's a very high and low business.
Yeah. It's the highest of the highs and honestly the lowest of the lows.
When you get that big check, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I could go buy a new car with like cash.
Yeah.
And then you get a deal that you worked so darn hard on. And if you bring out and you figure things out, you're like, $1.25 an hour. How was that one for you?
Yeah. Or actually, I think I'm writing a check to them.
Yeah.
Because I put so much money into this in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've come to closing and I've had to stop and buy TV mounts on the way because the movers took them out. And when they did the final walkthrough, all the TV mounts were gone.
Yeah.
There's just different things that happen and just call and bounce things off of each other. It really, really helps.
Yeah. There's going to be tears. We had a client that it was in delayed and Jay and I decided we would like take turns with this client because it was just not a good situation. So we together decided we were going to fire this client before it even went on the market. And that's okay too.
Mhm.
And I always say, you know what, if someone is so unhappy and you're dealing with them, 99.9% they were really unhappy before you met them. Yeah, they have a story and there's a reason for it. But they're not unhappy because of you. They were unhappy before they showed up. So I keep that in mind too, not to take it personal.
And
Yeah.
it's hard.
It's hard.
Hard not to take it personal, but I've fired a listing also.
And again, so if someone's super emotional on the other side, whether it's a client or a co-broke, respond with logic. And if they're extremely logical and they're throwing that at you, I respond with a little more of an emotion. And then it kind of evens things out. But I can't respond to emotion with emotion. That's a sinking ship.
Oh yeah.
Believe me, I've done it. So
I think one of my big takeaways from Peter was leverage. He talked a ton about transaction management. He talked a ton about knowing what are not his strengths. I think sometimes as like individual agents, you're like, well, I'm not on a team, so I have to do this all alone. And I think that is such a limiting belief. And there's so many buttons you can push with a really low cost to sale that are going to make you just be able to focus on the parts of the business that you're just naturally good at and are the reasons why you came into it in the first place. And hearing him talk to that, he's like, and I know Karen Spenty, for those of you who know her, she did transaction management right from the beginning and she flew through the mentor program, launch program as well. I think not being afraid to ask for help and lean on those systems is going to just like make you be able to breathe a little bit because it can be a lot. And a lot of people learn from using transaction management. And then they're like, okay, now I can take that back or do that on my own. So it doesn't mean that if you use it here or there that you're committed to it and being open to that. I thought that was a huge aha for me.
Yes, because Peter is very service minded. And I think he, as well as everyone here, wants to give the best service possible. And if you are unable to follow up and follow through at a high level on the transaction side, which you probably most likely won't be able to, then you delegate that. And guess what? You don't pay for that unless it closes. Have that person that's their one thing, do that job. Because it will take so much off your back. And then you really are going to have more fun with this position and interact and engage at a higher level with your clients.
Totally.
And that person is on your team. So you do have a team as an individual agent. So you can promote yourself as that person is on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know he did that right away. Another takeaway is that he was, and I know during the COVID, it's, impossible, but Peter was in that office all the time. He was showing up, and he had specific goals that he wanted to meet. But most importantly, he had a why. And we can't do this business without knowing what our why is. And if that is unclear, your path is going to be unclear, and your production is going to show. So have a why, and it could be a why for the year. What is your why for 2020? And that will change. But having that to begin with, and he was very specific. I really think that pushed him along.
There is one thing that Peter didn't really mention that he had been doing along the way that I totally love. I came from a background, both my parents were business owners, so we watched them growing up, taking every opportunity to be friends with as many people as possible and be genuine. And Peter joined Rotary Club and some other stuff just to open up that platform because it's things that he was really passionate about. And sometimes, we can all do things like play golf.
Yeah.
Every person that sees you knows, like, oh, she's that really nice woman. Oh, she's in real estate. And then you're a visual, reminder. I volunteer with dog rescues. That's my thing. And I've been doing it forever. And it sucks with all these things getting canceled. But I'm still finding more reasons, more ways. So being involved with people and building a new sphere and figuring out your platform is huge. So,
does anyone need help with anything right now that you're currently struggling with that we as a team can collaborate? Any issues? All right. Can you guys put into the chat what you would like to have in our next 2 productivity classes, something that we may not have touched yet that you need help with, or a guest speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it out there.
You had asked Peter what he does for a closing gift. What do you guys do?
So we do spice boxes from the Spice House downtown Milwaukee. They're really attractive, and for most people, and we tie them up in a pretty bow. I think they're $50, and everyone has loved them.
I still love mine. Mine's amazing, and I still use it 2 years later.
Yeah, it's always nice, new house, new spices.
Spices, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you put your sticker on it or your logo or?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah, we do. And then I kind of direct it towards my client, one of the best thumbs up. It's usually for single women that are buying a house. I get a basket and I get a bunch of 4 big white fluffy towels from TJ Maxx, and I roll them up, and I'll put a great bottle of champagne and some bubble bath or bath oil or something, and I bring it into the closing. Now, mind you, this maybe cost me $50, but the presentation is just they're tired, they're exhausted, and when they see that basket, I've had so many tears over that than any spice box. So I kind of gear it towards my audience. Yeah. Another thing I do, you guys, which I've just started doing the past 6 months, because I always go back and think, what did I really need when I was moving? So now I tell them I'm going to be delivering dinner to you guys. Maybe the first day you're moving in or second. What is it that you like? Chinese, pizza? They tell me and I deliver it. It's usually $30 tops. I cannot tell you the feedback on that. Thank you so much. This is amazing. So I get on Grubhub, order it, and they tell me what they want, and it is like Christmas. So
Honey,
put that in your
correct me if I'm wrong on this, but for those of you who don't have a lot of like money up front for this kind of stuff either, isn't it true that if you put like your logo on it or KW logo, it's 100% tax write-off?
Yep. Up to, I think it's up to $50, I believe.
But if you have your logo on it, you can write off 100% of it because it's advertising.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah.
So Beth, hopefully that answers your question. $50 if it's not advertising, and then limitless if it's advertised.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember. Oh, so Kathleen says it's $25 per person for a gift.
So I guess if it's a couple, it's 50.
Well, typically it's a couple, so $50.
So I go on Amazon and I get bamboo cutting boards. And then I have them engraved on the back.
Those are awesome.
Oh, that's neat.
And I get the big one. I get more darn compliments from it. And the best thing is when I go to a party, I say, wow, that cutting board looks familiar. And they're like, oh my gosh, my realtor gave it to me. And everybody's like, your realtor gave you a cutting board? And then, I don't know, it sticks around forever. And every time they use it, they think of me.
That's a really good idea.
It's, you know, I get
What
them
is your
from,
cost per engraving? How does that price out for the
there's a
engraving?
place in North Lake that I have them engraved. And so all in, I think the cutting board is like $15. And then
Nice.
engraving is $8. So I'm at like,
I like
23,
that.
24 bucks. Yeah. And I have my logo made on it. And here we go.
I love that.
Do they have, so they can easily do that engraving? They just need your information?
Yes, I just went in there the first time with my logo and I had them set it up. And because it's bamboo, they burn it in. It's competitive sports and awards, competitive awards and engraving in North Lake. They do it. So I just order 5 or 7 at a time, and then take them all up there and they do it.
Awesome. I like
So I usually
Janine's
do
idea, and I've used it
bottle of-
before.
Yeah,
Janine
and this
gave me
way
a great
they have it
idea.
forever. And then I
It
do
was,
a bottle of booze or a bottle of champagne with it.
There you go. I picked up a like an insulated bag from Walmart. Real nice looking bag. It was like $3. I put 2 frozen pizzas in there and a 6-pack of beer.
Nice.
And because
Perfect.
Janine, the way Janine described it is they're exhausted. They haven't unpacked anything yet. They haven't unpacked their kitchen specifically. So a couple frozen pizzas and a 6-pack of beer. It was pretty affordable, and it made them so happy. I was surprised how happy they were.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the little things mean a
Kitchen.
lot. Yeah. It means a lot. And if you stop by when they're moving in, the moving van's there, or the next day, and bring some fresh flowers. I mean, they are going to remember the tail end of that transaction more than anything else. It can be as smooth as silk until the very end. And shit hits the fan at the end, they are going to quickly forget the great service that they got prior to that. So if the wheels fall off the bus, be there to put them back on and do something significant, even if it's stopping at the store and bringing them flowers. You guys, it speaks millions. It does. They
We're
remember.
talking after the closing, after where most people are like, okay, next.
Yep.
You're following up. Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm learning every single day that my database, I need to put a moat around it. And whether it's past clients or my sphere, I need to protect it. And I'm very mindful. Like 2 of my clients just had babies. So I got on Etsy and found these onesies that say straight out of quarantine. I mean, it's like little stuff like that I can't wait for them to get it. I'm like so excited. And they're past clients, but I'm so excited to send that stuff off. It's just it's the little things that's going to increase your business.
Well, Janine, you just had all of the delivery of all of the wine bottles for quarantine as well, which was just like mind blowing. Like, I mean, I know that I got on the list because I bought a house from you 2 years ago. But I mean, someone coming up to the door 2 weeks ago with like a adorable bottle of wine, adorable little thing that says like, let's not whine about it. You know, I mean, it was, and I had no idea what was coming my door, who was giving me wine. And I mean, it was like, oh my God, brilliant.
Yeah, it's those touches. Everyone needs that. Everyone wants to feel remembered and special. I do. So that's part of your job.
Yeah, it made my day.
So I think next week, you guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go and do objection handling, because we're going to be getting a lot of them right now. And I have had nothing but objections this past week. So Connie and I will come up with our top 10 objections from either buying, selling, whatever that is, stuff from co-brokes. And we're just going to role play them out for you. And take note, because I wish I had this when I started out. So I think that would be a really great class. I've decided on our own, Connie.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right. Anything else? Was this helpful, you guys?
Yes.
Yay!
It always is. You guys are awesome.
Good stuff.
So time block, today's Thursday. Get your calendar out on Sunday night and focus on what's going on from 7 until noon. Time block.
New calendar just went out yesterday for June. So
and it's
all that out, new calendar block, tons of stuff for listings, tons and tons of great stuff this month. So
Yep.
Yeah.
And everyone
work it.
should be filling out a weekly time block calendar. And really stick to it. So that's your goal of the week, is to set up a time block calendar. You can go online, you can get it square by square, you can have it filled in line by line, whatever, and set your appointments in there. Set in your lead gen, set in your touches, your contacts, your trainings, put everything in there so you can stay on task, because nobody's tracking you. You're on your own. You are an independent business person. You can do whatever the hell you want. But keeping yourself accountable is honestly the hardest thing. It is for me, at least.
Yes. And as you get busier, it just gets worse. Yeah, I try to do all of my appointments in the afternoon so I can free up my mornings. But it's difficult. So if I don't do that in a day, I need to go back into my calendar and put in 4 to 6. That, okay, I am going to generate or touch my database in some form or fashion from 4 to 6. Because I cannot let that go. I just can't. So if that's just me sitting down and texting or emailing some past clients, I'm going to do it. It's just it's a habit. It's just a habit.
And knowing that we pushed everything up on Fridays to like 10 a.m. So we know you guys are going to want to be outside this summer. So no excuses. We moved it from 1 p.m. to 10 a.m. So those new age masterminds and everything. So a couple hours in the morning and then go off and lead gen on the golf course like Connie.
That's right. Okay, guys. So we will see you next week, and we will be discussing objection handling. So looking forward to seeing you all.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.